I'm thinking about the learning that needs to take place for everybody to unlearn and relearn this new way of living. Because I mean, you had it spot on with what you were saying. Um, I'm curious to know what's your favorite way to learn and why.
Mm. So education was a pretty traumatic experience for me. It's probably one of the places where I got a lot of talk about trauma tracking. School was that place for me. I went to um, a predominantly white school here in the high desert. I'm not far from you, in Southern
Mm,
California, here in a small town called Phelan. And
mm,
and for me, growing up with dyslexia, which made reading and writing difficult, it smothered how genius I was. But my mother and family were not confused. And so we talk about my favorite way to learn. It was not in school. That was not my favorite place to learn. That was not the place, and not because they didn't try, but the whole structure was limiting, right? So I had this very
that
dynamic mind and this very dynamic ability to communicate, but they had it kind of down to test and retesting and memorization. And I was such a creative artist, almost hopelessly, partly because of my dyslexia and partly because of how I was as a being. And so for me, my learning, for me at least, happened when I was in the Future Farmers of America for 4 years in high school. I learned when I was raising the sheep in my house. I learned when I was building the actual structure. I learned when I was engaging, not just with my hands, my whole entire body was engaging with the
mhm,
practice. My family had a family group called Five Aces we grew up with singing. I learned how to sing not just from like, here's your note, here's your pitch, here's your key, but I learned from sitting next to my grandfather who would sing in church and I would hear him sing. I would sit next to my brother who's excellent. He would start to sing or beatbox. I would learn from being with, embodied, in practice. And so for me, learning was best given when it was with folks that loved me, cared about me, and allowed me to be fully myself. And that was usually at home or in my
mm,
black village. When I was in a classroom where folks are like, you're not that intelligent, or they're not sure, you can't pass a test, when that was a limitation, I survived. I graduated, I went to college and whatnot, but it was not a place where I felt like I kind of like just patiently wade through it. I did not learn. So my learning is with folks that teach me with love and with investment in my life. It's a lifetime reach. Those teachers that when you graduate talk to you anymore, that's fine. But I like the teachers that I'm here for
mhm,
life. I'm your mom, I'm your uncle, I'm your neighbor, I'm your village. I am here to be with you. That's where I learn. When love is being given in between the lessons, I can learn. So I thrive in that environment
mhm.
and try and create environments where that is also where I like to teach and also creating places for us to learn myself.
Yeah,